What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod back with another video, and today I'm going to give you guys 5 tips on how I was able to sell over 1,000 items on Poshmark in less than a year. Now, for some of you guys, I know some people say they don't sell a ton of stuff on Poshmark, and for me, I was exactly the same way. And shortly into my selling career on Poshmark, for me, I just started to adopt a few things and a few different tactics, and that helped me just create more sales, make more money, and overall just have more fun using the Poshmark app. So if you guys are interested in these kind of videos, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, y'all, so if you guys follow the channel, you already know this is one of the things that I do, and it's definitely more on the controversial side. Most people don't agree with this, but for me, when it comes to using tissue paper, thank you notes, thank you stickers, all of those things, I only use the free USPS supplies that you can get at the post office, and that's the only things that I use when it comes to shipping out items. And for me, not only did it save me a bunch of money, but it also saved me a bunch of time, especially when it came to shipping out items. So when I first got started selling on Poshmark, even the Poshmark app, a lot of the things when you make your first sale, they would encourage you to use tissue paper, write a thank you note, all of those things. And writing a handwritten note for every sale that I was making, it took up some time, and especially once I realized that I started to make more sales, maybe 5 to 6 and then eventually like 10 sales a day, I realized that I definitely had no time to write a thank you note for every person. So at the very beginning, I was a little nervous about it, but I did want to just see if it would make a difference in terms of my sales. And I was always getting the same rating, a same 5-star rating, whether or not I included thank you notes, whether or not I included tissue paper. So for me, I just cut it out completely within about 3 months of using Poshmark, and I haven't looked back. So like I said, it saved me a bunch of money and it saved me a bunch of time. And the money that I was saving from buying tissue paper and thank you cards, I just put that money right back into my business, and I was able to just buy more inventory and literally just keep the sales rolling in. So that's definitely something for you guys to consider. If those of you that do use tissue paper and thank you notes and all of those different stuff, definitely drop a comment. Let me know if you think it actually helps your sales or not. And for those of you that are brand new to Poshmark, if you're on the fence and you think that you should be using it, you definitely don't have to, but it's definitely a nice little touch. Another good tip that I have for you guys when it comes to receiving offers is that in the very beginning, I would counter every offer that I got, and I was just really trying to seal the deal and make as much sales as possible. But then I just had to come to the realization that a lot of buyers on Poshmark are very cheap, and they're always, not always, but a lot of times they're going to send you an offer for half of whatever it is that you're asking. And I realized that once I just started declining those initial offers, they would either send me a strong, really good offer, or they would just, fade away. And for me, that didn't bother me whatsoever, because I realized that for one, you can't seal every deal, you can't close every sale, and I realized that once I just started declining those offers, sometimes the buyer would actually just buy my item for full price, or they'll send me a really good offer, and I didn't have to waste time with the whole back and forth. And for me, this is something that I still do, and I even started implementing that on eBay as well. If I get lowball offers on eBay, I just decline it and wait for the right buyer to come along. And just having that mindset really did help my business, and really just helped my peace of mind, because I used to find myself getting very upset when I would get a lowball offer, but now I just decline them and keep it moving. So for those of you that are just starting out, maybe it might be best for you to go ahead and at least try to counter offers and try to seal a deal, especially when you're in the very beginning stages. But for me, within about 5 or 6 months in, I just stopped countering every offer that I was receiving. And if it was a really good offer, of course I would counter it, or sometimes just accept it. But for the most part, I found myself declining way more offers than I was actually accepting. Now, speaking of offers, another good tip that I have for you guys is that I tell you guys all the time, I don't usually make sales when it comes to bundles. Usually anytime I get a bundle, it would usually be one item, and that buyer is just basically adding an item to the bundle and hoping that I would send them an offer just to lower the price. And for me, I just stopped entertaining that. And if it's a bundle of just one item, I'm not usually going to send an offer, and an offer usually doesn't come my way, because I realize not only do buyers they're so used to receiving offers in terms of buying things on Poshmark, they're so used to the seller being super proactive and trying to send them a lower price. But not only that, I realized that sometimes it might just be an accident. I realized that I made a bunch of bundles by accident, and I would get an offer from a seller not even realizing that I added something to a bundle. So that's definitely something to consider. Bundles come by accident, and sometimes people just want you to send them a discounted rate on one item, and for me, I don't usually have time for that. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, another huge tip that I have for you guys, and this can save you a lot of time and energy. Now, when it comes to being a Poshmark ambassador, you have to share a ton of items. You have to share your items, you have to share others' items, and you also have to make a purchase. And it took me kind of a long while until I became a Poshmark ambassador, because I didn't want to spend any money that I was making, and I was really just replenishing that money and putting it right back into the business. And I realized that when I finally did become a Poshmark ambassador, I did spend a lot of time sharing other people's closet. But at the end of the day, when I finally became a Poshmark ambassador after making a purchase, after sharing about 5,000 items for different people, I realized that I wasted a lot of time, because being a Poshmark ambassador did absolutely nothing for my closet. Now, for some people, they say it hurts their sales, it helps their sales, and it's just a good look to be a Poshmark ambassador. But for me, it meant absolutely nothing. It didn't help, it didn't hurt, and overall I feel like I just wasted my time, and I probably didn't even need to make that purchase that I made. Those of you that follow the channel, you know I tried making some purchases on Poshmark a couple different times and it didn't work out. But if you guys didn't catch that video, I'll put that in the description and I'll put it up in the card so you guys can check those videos out later. Those definitely have some more helpful hints and tips for you guys, especially if you're brand new to selling. But when it comes to being a Poshmark ambassador, it definitely did nothing for my sales whatsoever, and it was a complete waste of time. Now, last but not least, if you guys follow the channel, you guys know that I used to sell a ton of lower end items on Poshmark. A lot of stuff for about 15 to 25 bucks. And not to say I don't sell those type of items anymore, but I really just spent more energy on just sourcing higher priced items, higher profit items on Poshmark, and I started listing all of those things, and I would rarely ever sell anything worth more than 50 bucks on Poshmark. And now I found that the majority of my sales are either like 50 bucks or more, and I think it's just a matter of just trying to provide value and still just offering really good deals for people. And for me, that's really all I did. I still made sure that my items were priced correctly, and usually all the higher profit items would usually just go strictly to eBay, and I wouldn't put them on Poshmark. But in the past 6 months or so, I started putting more higher profit items on Poshmark. And even though Poshmark does charge that 20%, sometimes, especially when it comes to shoes, I realized that I was actually better off selling an item on Poshmark as opposed to selling it on eBay, only because a lot of the shoes and the boots that I was selling was pretty heavy, and it would cost a ton of money to ship it out on eBay, especially if I ship it priority. But for Poshmark, as we all know, the buyer pays a simple flat rate of $6.79. So that definitely did help me out a lot in terms of just converting more sales on Poshmark. I used to sell a lot of the lower end stuff for like 15 to 25, and then I started incorporating more higher profit pieces, and my Poshmark closet was able to practically double. My Poshmark closet always kind of fluctuated around 100 items, and I was making a decent amount of sales. But once I started incorporating more items and just more higher profit items, now my closet kind of fluctuates between 250 and 300 active items, and I still make a decent amount of sales every day, just about maybe 8 to 10 sales every day on Poshmark. So that's definitely something for you guys to consider. Alright y'all, that's all I got for today's video. So if you guys enjoyed that one, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys have any comments, any questions, drop them in the comment section. I'll get back to you guys as soon as possible, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Causing thunder lately, so in the heart with no repayment. My interest rate is lower, ain't it? Decide to auction off a bid.